everybody. This is James from Easterseals, and today we're going to be talking the basics of a guard. Now, what is a guard? It is dealing with where to place your hands in combat. Now, there's way too many ways that we can talk about different guards, and different types of martial arts prefer different types of guards. For example, a boxer is going to keep their elbows nice and tucked in, really close, kind of drop them a little bit, because they don't have to worry so much about their legs. They're not going to be throwing any kicks. But as opposed to kickboxing, Muay Thai, they're going to have their hands probably a little bit higher. Once again, I know a little about Muay Thai, so apologize for this. But their hands are probably going to be up higher because they really want to throw that roundhouse kick. Whereas you can't, if you're doing it right down over here, it's going to get in the way. So there are different types of guards. So there's a lot of pros and cons. For example, this is really great, but kind of leaving the body open a little bit. Now the idea is to kind of use almost your legs a little bit as a shield. Now this is pretty good right here, but what about if kicks are coming down over here low and stuff? There's pros and cons to a whole bunch of types of guards. Even in boxing, this is not always the standard way to standard way to have a guard. There's the Philly shell and there's the cross guard on that one. There's so many different ways. I'm not going to go over them all. I'm just going to talk about the basics. Now, in a regular type of altercation outside or something, I would say the best thing is to have your hands out just like this and go, whoa! Now notice how I kind of put my foot back. Now I'm in a kind of an okay stance and my hands are out like this. This is really great because if someone charges at you, you can hold down, maybe able to sprawl at that point. You can have distance. And that's one of the big things. If you ever watched my video about the different types of distances, you don't want to be in the grappling range. If you can keep over here, you're safe. If someone's trying to throw punches, you can push them out. This is not bad. Now, if you're over here, like, oh, I don't want any, you're safe from any type of like outside punches or something. Here, if somebody were to come around the edge. So there's different types of pros and cons to it. However, if you're in a panic, just kind of like, whoa, I don't want any trouble. This keeps you safe for a minute, especially if someone's going to charge at you. You can at least push them away. Or if someone comes running at you, you can push and you can run. The one guard that I don't think is necessarily that great is if you have your hands almost all the way by your eyes. And we'll talk about this, why. If your hands are this close, now here's a little bit different because let's say something comes flying at me. See how it kind of goes right around my face, but I'm relatively safe. If I have it right here and my knuckles are near my eyes, if someone just were to pop at me, all of a sudden I'm punching myself in the face right here. Now, maybe I can get out of the way or something like that, but having it this close, you're just asking yourself to get hurt in the process. Which can be said if you're, let's say someone's really up in you and they're throwing punches and you panic and you cover like this. And you'll see some people kind of put their knuckles right up by their head. Now, I really don't recommend against this. There's some people who really think this is the great thing to do, but there's a lot of downsides to this. Yeah, it seems like you're safe, but notice all the gap right here. The minute I put pressure, see how much my wrist just collapses? And all of a sudden, if I do it right, I might get my palm to the cheek right here. There's a lot of room for error right here. Also, if somebody rips this, you're open, exposed. There's actually, if someone grapples that hands out. So what I recommend, if somebody is completely throwing wild drunken punches, is to actually put your hands on top of your head and to just kind of cover in as much as you can. Now, it's really hard to grapple this out. And I can throw really hard strikes. If you noticed, I wasn't even trying to do anything hard here because I'm actually afraid of hurting myself. But here, I feel pretty good and pretty protected. Now, I'm not covering my eyesight. Here, I can't see the camera. I literally know what's going on. If I can't see my target, I have no idea how my target's going to attack me. So if I'm right here and I have a little bit of a V, I can see where things are going. Now, you don't always want to stay here too. Let's say now this is really good if someone's coming right at me. But this is not great at all if someone's coming around the side of my head. So, if someone's coming around the side of my head, I might tuck my hand to the back of my neck. And I have a little bit of a side triangle going on right here. This is great if somebody throws a punch at me. If somebody throws a kick, like a high roundhouse kick, to my face, this will stop it. Here, you're not going to win against a kick blocking like this. An old school karate block is not going to do anything against a roundhouse kick to the head. Your hand's just going to go smack in your face and you're going to get knocked out cold. Here, by bracing it, you have a good shot. I really like this type of guard using an elbow because it's easily movable. If I'm right here, I can come in this way, I can go back in, I can retreat. I have a lot to work with. What's also great about this is I can still throw hammer strikes, I can throw punches, but I can also work in those elbows really fast. This is not that bad, actually. So if I'm right here, now I would not recommend like approaching somebody like this. This is more when I'm in panic. This is when I'm turtling, where I'm like, oh no, I can't stop all these punches. So I turtle up, I duck down a little bit, and I'm relatively safe. If a punch comes that way, I'm good. Punch comes that way, I'm good. And I move in. Now, I can charge at you with that elbow. I have a couple options. I've seen some people, I think this is called the helmet, where people will do this. So now I'm protected over here. I'm protected over here. I have a nice form on that. I don't know much about this type of guard. Once again, I don't want to recommend it because I don't know much about it. I've done this multiple times. I feel really good about this. This feels really good against a kick to the head. I'm not saying a kick to the head is great, but if I got kicked right here, I feel pretty good. And I can do this pretty fast. And then with that, I can come in with a jab to the elbow. I can grab from here. I have a lot of options. This is pretty comfortable, going like that. That's a pretty decent guard. Once again, having your fists right to your face, there's a lot that you can go wrong with here. Another thing I want to point out is when you're on guard, do not tense your arms. What I'll usually do is I'll tell someone to hold their arm as hard as they can, and then I just slap it away. And you'll notice how fast my hand went. Is that when your hands are really tense and you're trying to cover, somebody can easily just slap it away and your hands are going to go. But when it's lighter, my hand's going to come back every time. I can bounce back. When it's really hard, boom, it's going to fly down. So when you have your guard, stay loose. When you're doing this, do not tense up. Just stay loose. It will tense up when it needs to if it gets hit, but stay as loose as possible. So you're coming around, you see some punches, you're like, oh no. If I see someone cap me like this, Now, once again, these ones are really good if you're in a panic. I wouldn't recommend these if you, once again, it's really hard for me to establish a punch from here. But this is really good if I'm in a panic. And I should be getting my distance so I can start throwing punches again. There's a lot of options. Now, really quickly, what if you do if someone's throwing a kick to your legs or your shins? You'll see old videos doing this type of strikes. These are not that great. There is a time and place to throw in these bottom strikes right here, but excuse me. But what if, someone's throwing a kick right here and chambers it back up, and your hand's all the way down here, you're going to get kicked in the head, and you have no protection. And also, your hand is not going to stop a leg. The leg will win every time. It just has more mass, it's generating more power. So if somebody is throwing a kick to your leg, just lift your leg up. Or you can kind of slightly, slightly kind of move in a little bit with it. But don't just sit there and take it to the leg. It's going to really hurt, trust me. First time I went against an MMA fighter, I learned the hard way. This hurts getting right here, right on this stripy line. But if you lift your leg up a little bit, it won't be that bad. If you kind of slightly turn and let it get hit more like right here, that's good too. But we're mostly focusing on the head. So once again, best thing to do in a street fight is to just put your hands up and make it seem like you're not fighting. Like, I don't want any trouble. Now, you might not want any trouble, but if there is trouble, you're in a decent position. If you say, I don't want any trouble, and you're putting your fists up like this, that's going to invite somebody to actually start throwing punches. Sorry about that. So you don't want to be like, I don't want any trouble. because this sounds like you want trouble. But if you don't like, oh, I don't want any trouble. But if some rushes at you, you can start throwing punches here. Oh, sorry. I don't know why I'm coughing so much. Anyway, that was a quick tutorial about different types of guards. Once again, there's a huge array of guards that you can experiment with. See which ones work well for you. For example, if you're sitting and you're in a wheelchair, this guard's going to work really well because you might not have to worry about people trying to hit into your lower part of your body because your chair's covering you. So you can really do this all day and you're relatively safe. Now, if you are afraid that someone's going to kick you in the leg, you might want to drop your guard a little bit over here so you can kind of lift it up a little bit. There's different things to experiment. And honestly, the best way to test to see if it works is to do light sparring with people that you know. Head to a dojo, head to some sort of martial art gym, and to just try to experiment. Well, now, you can't go in their first day and expect to fight, but you have to test whether the stuff you're doing is correct. You might think it's doing well. Like, I cannot tell you how many times where I thought I was doing things right. Even after this tutorial, down the road, I know that I'm going to mess up with a lot of things. This is an ongoing learning process. It's a science. It's a sweet science. You slowly learn what is effective, what is not effective. What people thought was effective years ago might not be effective so much anymore. It's okay to experiment and test your theories. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this quick tutorial on different types of guards, and I'll see you next time.